Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Taravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidparam Satgurum Brahma Vidparam. Welcome. So on this Teachers' Day, wish you all very, very happy Teachers' Day. I know we are all teachers in some form or other. And of course, I take this opportunity to prostrate to my immediate Acharya, Swami Bodhatmananda ji, and to the entire Guru Parampara. So today we're going to see liberation, otherwise moksha. This is a big topic, but we'll touch upon a couple of subtopics, like what does it mean to us? And what are the ways in which actually we can aim to achieve that goal? And some other similar topics also. So the topic is very, very big, as we all know, but let's do it at a very high level, given the timeline. And maybe we can call this as a elevator pitch for this topic. So let me share the PowerPoint. Is it shared now? Are you able to see?
Not yet.
No.
Okay. All right. Now I got it. Does it work?
Yes.
Okay.
You go ahead and put it in full screen mode.
I'm sorry?
It's not in full screen yet.
Oh, is that right? Okay. How's that now?
Yeah, perfect.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So this topic, we're going to see under 5 subtopics. Why liberation? Given where we are, in whatever the state of our life, I want to take it from there. Having come here to this country and having accomplished a lot of things, and also in the process of accomplishing, given all the things, from there, when we look ahead, why we need liberation. So that's going to be the first topic. Then, what is the meaning of liberation? As with what Vedanta says, and also what are the popular ways in which actually the liberation, moksha, is defined. That's the next topic. Then the sadhana, like Swamiji was saying, sadhana is important. So how do we achieve the goal? We'll touch upon that. Then scriptural authority, there's so many of them. But I'll try to sprinkle these quotations here and there with some quotations from our Guruji, which of course in turn is backed up by scriptures, and also from some other Prakranakrantas, and of course from Shruti. Then the last topic will be how the Jivan Mukta experiences his world. Now that we want to achieve that goal, once it is liberated, then how will that state be in terms of living in this world? Given all the challenges what we go through in this world, how are we going to look upon that Gnani who has achieved this goal and how he is living in this world? And that way it will also motivate us in terms of getting there quickly. So those are the 5 subtopics. Now, these topics, as I said, very vast. We can't do any reasonable justice in this 1 hour. But at the same time, we will know something of something. And as I said, it's going to be an elevator pitch. To that extent, we'll cover this topic. And of course, it assumes a certain basic Vedantic knowledge also. There are some of the terms and all that, it's, I'm assuming that, you're familiar or you will get familiar. So with that, let's go to the first topic. Why liberation? Well, if we are contented and if we are happy, oh no, from wherever, whichever part of India we were originally from, we are now, or from other countries, we have migrated here to the best place, so-called quote unquote, in the world. And we are contented with, all the other things professionally, family-wise, and other things also we're satisfied. If that is the case, then one may tend to ask, why should actually we look for liberation? I'm already happy. Well, Vedanta says, and we all know, this contentment or the so-called happy, if we are happy, that's good, very good. But we'll never know when Bhagwan will come out with a danda. We don't know what is our bank balance left with respect to our Punya and Papa account, because we can't see that. There's no online access to that bank. So we'll never know what is going to be coming up in the next. So we'll have to be prepared. So that's where Vedanta comes to help us, that be prepared. And that's another reason. Even if we are contented, even if we are fully satisfied, then it's better to know why we need liberation, why we should be in this path, why we should start walking, so that we are prepared when Danda comes. Now, let's look at the life. In anything what we do, one of these 2 things only we do, right? We are running away from the things we don't want, or we are running towards the things what we want, right? That's what is happening. It could be people, or it could be situations, or it could be, objects. So whichever it is, then this is one of the 2 things we keep doing. And we find very soon ourselves in a rat race, right? And especially, in this country, it is so aggressive professionally, all of us experience or experiencing. And also with all the timeline, global connections, and working from home, is always becomes 7 by 24. And in the process, we want to be always, one up. And we have to be, otherwise, we'll be left over. But Guruji says that, we all participate in this rat race. And whatever we accomplish, when we look back, we may be the first one to accomplish certain things, or maybe one of the first few to accomplish, but we are still a rat. We are going through that. And whatever we keep accomplishing, we find that there is something always missing, isn't it? I mean, we want to set a goal, and then, okay, depending upon whichever profession or whichever family goals we all have. And once we have to know, we want to earn something more, whether it is the bigger house or more number of cars or more number of gadgets, whatever. There's always something is missing. And that is the defect of Vishayananda, what our Vedanta summarizes. As long as we are outward focused, these limitations we will have to go through. Association with pain, takes your own favorite object, and then you will go through these deficiencies, limitations of Vishayananda. Whether it is a laddu, or whether it is ice cream, or whether it is modak, you take some of these examples and go through this checklist. And very soon you will agree that, yeah, going outward, going Vishayananda, definitely going after Vishayananda, definitely have this limitations, association with pain, association with temporariness, right? Causes dependence. Take, for example, you go to ice cream shop. First time, even though you are warned that you should not take ice cream and all that, you see the advertisement, you like it, you love it. And what's that? You like it, love it, and you got to have it, right? That's the slogan. Right? So you try with the like it. Then next time again, you go to love it. And then you have to have it. And like that, it goes on. Dependence, causes dependence. And of course, drains indriyas over a limit. Dissatisfaction guaranteed, right? Even though it may look that it is giving actually sukham now, that sukham is only temporary. And very soon, dukkam is waiting. So that's the drawback of this Vishayananda. And then in the process, actually, we always find that we are in a miserable state. Now, how does Guruji summarizes this state? Beautifully he summarizes in one of his works. He says, very soon, this person, he or she, realizes the miserable state and wants to free himself or herself. And he puts it in a very nice way. And most of us can relate to this. And we all actually took some disruptive steps in our life, coming out of our country, especially for the first generation. And also even for the second generation, also, if some of you were there, then, such drastic disruptive steps we are taking to go to be ahead in the game, in whatever we want to accomplish, right? And in the process, actually, we are compromising the standard of life. As Gurudev puts it, balancing standard of living and balancing it with standard of life is so important, right? But of course, the standard of living keeps on increasing. But we soon find that there is imbalance in the standard of life. And hence, it gets into this miserable state. Guruji puts it in a very nice way. Prapta maya lokamanya prasiddhihi bhogo pi bhuktasya dhanam tathayi. I gained prestige, we enjoyed all the wealth, whatever I, wanted to accomplish, I enjoyed. Prestige, in terms of my career, I wanted to get to this level, or I want to work towards that. I'm getting it. I'm getting promoted. And the family-wise also, big car and all the comforts and all that. And then wealth, yeah, I'm meeting my targets. 401k is healthy. And I had the opportunity of ringing the stock exchange in NASDAQ or whatever, And of course, we enjoy the pleasure. We traveled all over the world and so on. And you keep on doing it. At one stage, Guruji says, Labdam sukham naiva maya kadapi. We are not able to see that balance between standard of living and standard of life. And hence, we are forced to look and take a checkpoint. And then it dawns on us, it's time for desiring liberation. It's time actually now to look for what will give us the happiness. Muktim yavancham yaduna mumukshu becomes a mumukshu. So beautifully, in one sloka, Guruji summarizes this in this work. And so what do we want? We want to be free from sorrow, pain, boredom. We want to be secure. We want to be at peace. We want to be happy. We want to be happy all the time. So this is where it takes us to the definition, meaning of liberation. At this stage, we'll look for liberation. And Vedanta says, Vedanta work defines one of the definitions is this. Atyantika dukkha nivritti paramananda prapti. Total extermination of all sorrows. Atyantika dukkha nivritti. And attainment of that supreme self. That is liberation. That Vedanta assures. We are already that. Only thing we didn't know. We'll talk more about that. So this is highlighted and as the goal. And of course, how to accomplish this, various means are suggested. We'll see some of them. But before we go there, I want to elaborate this definition. Commonly, how do we look at liberation? Or in other words, what are the popular way we know what the liberation is talked about? This is one of the ways. Freedom from samsara. So samsara, of course, we all know, it is a problem. It is a sorrow. It is the worries, anxieties, fear, sadness, disease, separation, longing for something, or want to avoid the loneliness, insecurity. All these things come as a package as part of the samsara. And we are very deep into this. Kuntamala, our Kulasekara Arvar, puts it very, very nicely. Samsara samsararnava mapadhurmi bahulam. In this samsara, how we are immersed in this? Samsararnava marpadhurmi bahulam samyak pravishya stitaha. We're so deeply, immersed in this samsara. And so take me out, oh Lord, because he goes on praying and use a solution also. Mantram, you chant Bhagwan's name and you will be released and taken out from this samsara, ocean of samsara. But point here is that we want to be free from samsara. That is one way of the popular way of looking at the liberation. There's another way, all are similar. Of course, the liberation, like Swamiji said, mukti and sadhana. Those are the two major things in the scriptures, right? And this liberation or moksha or mukti is known in different ways. Nirvana is another, all this. And freedom from bondage is another popular way of knowing about this, defining about this liberation. And we are bonded. Sometimes we don't know that we are bonded. That this bondage, because we are ignorant about it. And this bondage is caused by our dehatma bhava. we identify ourselves with this body, mind, intellect, and that is how we have been programmed. For Janmas together, we have been programmed for whatever bodies we have taken, and we identified ourselves, and now that is carried forward, and that bondage makes us actually dukkhi. And Guruji again puts it very nicely: Dhyatma Baho Visheshu Ragaha. And he gives a list: Dhyatma Bhava, Visheshu Raga, Raga Dvesha, and then he also says that Kartrutva Bhava, the doership, ownership, whatever we do, all these things actually is because the bondage. And Saeva Bhaddha, and that person is actually bonded, and that Purusha is going through the dukkha. Purusha se dukkhi. He is bonded and he is suffering from all the sorrows. That's another second way of commonly defining the bondage, the liberation. We want to be free from bondage. Now the third one, which is also popular, we want to be free from rebirth. Right? We don't want to take another birth. And or here again, couple of quotations are there beautifully. Shankaracharya ji also, in his work, he vividly describes what kind of sufferings he went through in Garbhavasa. That Garbhavasadi Dukkam, we don't want to go again through that. And here, Kulasekara Alvar very nicely puts it: Oh Bhagwan, I did not take your name in my previous birth. That's why I went through the Garbhavasadi Dukkam. But now in this birth, I am very smart. And I'm taking your name, I'm surrendering it to you. So don't give me this suffering again. Because I know that month -9 onwards, I had been suffering, not from day one. Month -9 onwards, I had been suffering through Garbhavasadi Dukkam. So don't put me through Hana Purvam Vak Prabhurtana Tasmin, because I did not take your name. I went through this. Tena Praptam Garbhavasadi Dukkam. Before that, he says, Srimannama Prochanarayanakhyam. Those who actually, take your name, Kena Prapur Vanchitam Papinopi. Even this most simple people, they escaped from this rebirth. But I went through this Garbhavasadi Dukkha because I did not take up your name. So this is another way of defining the liberation. So we saw what Vedantic work says: Atyantika Dukkha Nivarti Paramananda Prapti. And popular ways of looking at the meaning of liberation is freedom from samsara, freedom from bondage, freedom from rebirth. Now, with this, look at the root cause of the problem. Then it becomes easier to understand the means. What is the root cause of this freedom? We want to accomplish freedom from sorrow. Where the sorrow is, what is the cause for that? Now, if, let's say, hot summer, that's a sorrow, and we switch on the AC. Air is on, and hence air conditioning, and hence that sorrow is taken care. Or we crave for something and go to the ice cream shop and have, that is taken care. Like that, if we take any one of these sorrows, what we go through, we try to satisfy that temporarily. They all give temporary solutions. But we don't sit down and then analyze what is the root cause for all this sorrow. What so that we'll be able to, once we identify the root cause, then we will be able to identify how to get there so that we get the permanent solution. Right? Otherwise, there will be temporary fixes. Right? And in software and all that, we apply some temporary patches. And then, of course, when the final release comes, then, of course, we incorporate all those things. But it's all temporary solutions only, unless we find the root cause. And what is the root cause? Gurudev puts it very nicely. This is one of his biggest contribution to Vedanta. Non-apprehension of the reality leading us to misapprehension. Or Acharya Ji, he names it as Advaita Atma Ajnana. We are all Ajnani. With respect to Advaita Atma, we don't have that knowledge of Advaita Atma. Advaita Atma Ajnanam is the cause. He is the root cause. Not knowing our own true self is the root cause for all. And that is elaborated. Let's see, for example, what is this non-apprehension leading to misapprehension causes? Take some examples. Because we are not seeing the rope, the misapprehension that the rope is snake, and that snake is driving us mad. And it is making us run away from the rope. It is because of the non-apprehension of the rope. And we misunderstood that it is a snake. Sometimes what happens, the other way also happens. We don't see that it is a mirage water. We see the water. We are so thirsty. And we see water there and didn't know that it is a mirage water. So because of that non-apprehension, misapprehension takes place, and then we run behind those objects. So running away because of fear or not wanting to have that and so on, or running towards because we want to have that, these things continuously keeps going on. That's the root cause. So non-apprehension, how do we then apprehend? How do we know our true self? That's where the teaching comes. We saw in mantra number 9 this morning, Natvatam mrityumatyeti Natvatam mrityumatyeti Nanyapanta vimuktaye. Right? Knowing him gets us free from the cycle of birth and death. And Swamiji nicely explained that. We can recollect. And then also related to that, this third person becoming actually second person, and then second person actually becoming the first person. Not knowing my true self is causing all this problem. And once we know that, then you are free from cycle of birth and death. And Nanyapanta vimuktaye. There is no other way you can get liberation. There's no other way. And of course, there's a lot of other quotations also there related to the Nanyapanta vimuktaye. In Purushasuktam also we know, Tameva vidvan iha bhavati Nanyapanta ayanaya vidyati. We know that. So similarly, these are all Shrutis loudly say and try to convey to us that this is the way. Know your true self. And yesterday, another example Swamiji mentioned, and I want to bring a quotation related to that. If you remember the example what Swamiji said, it is that salt doll dissolving in the water. Salt doll want to inquire. And it goes deeper into the ocean to inquire the depth of the ocean. And then, of course, it gets dissolved. And once it gets dissolved, then it becomes one with the ocean. Right? Similarly, this ahankara has to be dissolved, has to be negated, so that our true self, which is actually Satchidananda, will shine. That is brought out very nicely by Ramana Maharshi in this sloka. Aham madhir mrityu mutyaiti. Aham mrityur mutyu mupaitaiti. Aham mati. Aham, the I notion. Upaiti. Mrityu upaiti. That is, if you, that ahankara, if you dissolve, if you negate that, then what happens? After that, ata swabhavat amurteshu teshu. That's why the nature, true nature of amurteshu. That we are all amurtascha putraha. Shvetatara Upanishad says that Srinvant Vishve amurtascha putraha. We are all actually, by nature, our true nature is Sachidananda. And once we dissolve, once we negate this ahankara, atasvabhavat amruteshu teshu, kadapunar mrityu vyavakashaha. Where is the room for talking about death and birth again? There is no rebirth. There is no room to talk about that because your true self is already shining because you negated the ahankara. So the solution for accomplishing this, solving this root cause, having identified the root cause, is to abide in true self. Sadhana for that, take a U-turn. That's what all our studies reveal. Take a U-turn. From Vishyananda, start taking a U-turn towards Atmananda. And summarized in many ways under this beautiful summary by our Guruji. Take the sadhana for purifying the mind and for clarification of the knowledge. Purification of the mind, clarification of the knowledge. Purification of the mind, of course, we have all sadhanas. Swamiji also talked a lot. And of course, meditation is also is part of that. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and so on. And clarification of knowledge, of course, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. So all these come as suggested with various sadhanas. Like Swamiji said, there are so many sadhanas that are available, right? But ultimately, we looking for purification of the mind and clarification of the knowledge. And whatever entry point we want to do, depending upon where we are in our likes and dislikes with respect to starting a sadhana, then we can enter there and then pick up from there and then move forward, whatever is suitable to us. Right? For some of us may be very fond of starting at the bhakti yoga entry point. That's fine. And what is needed is actually all these sadhanas are, we have to keep in mind that yes, we are preparing ourselves for Vedanta Shravanam. Because we need the purification of mind. Well, what is purification of mind? All our raga, dvesha, likes and dislikes will be under control. It will not be eliminated totally, but it will be under control. It will be to a minimum level that it will prepare you to look for Vedantic Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. Then that will take automatically to that stage of learning some scriptures, reflecting on it, and meditation, what somebody suggested. So then that will in turn give a feedback to intensify our purification process. And that in turn will help us to study more and reflect more and do. So this process goes on. And we're all in it. That's good. But this sadhana should continue. If we want to accomplish that goal of finding out true self and abiding in it, then we are in it already. We have to intensify it. That's the second topic. Now, the third topic, as I said, with respect to the quotations, and so many quotations are there. Now, let me get into the interesting topic, which is actually ultimately, let us try to simulate oh, supposing we achieve that goal, how the Jivan Mukta will react or experience this world. Sometimes it's, when we set a goal, it's nice to imagine ourselves that, okay, if we are already in that state, how will it be? And that will in turn motivate us to work towards that, right? So let's see again, with respect to Jivan Mukta and how he lives in this world, he or she, and let's see what our scriptures say on that. Then let's look back and see whether, how we can refine our means to get to that goal. Now, Jivan Mukta also, he or she, has to deal with these three things in this world. We all know. Objects are there, situations will come, and of course, he or she has to deal with the people, which is the most difficult thing, right? And situations will be sometimes conducive, sometimes non-conducive. Objects, of course, sometimes will be, palatable, sometimes no. But they're all there in this world. World is the same. For Jnani and Ajnani, world is the same. But the lens in which actually the Jnani looks, that's the difference. And where did he get that lens? Through this sadhana. Our Ramana Maharshi says, Agnisya Vignesya Chabishvam Asti. This world is the same, whether it is Jnani or Ajnani is the same. Purvasya Drisham Jagadeva Satyam. The Ajnani, he looks at the world as world only. He gives Satyatva to the world. Whereas Jnani, because he's got a special lens, he looks at the world in a different way. When situations come, which are disturbing, of course, he also is this world. There will be some situations, or there will be some news, there will be some incident that will actually shook him up. First reaction will be what? Immediately, the reaction will be, so what? That's the difference. The response in time to the situations and the recovery time to recover back and the intensity of the response, all these things will vary depending upon where the sadhaka is in the path. So that's the difference. Guruji puts it very nicely. Before knowledge and after knowledge, how the world will look like. Beautiful sloka. Okay, I'll tell you the meaning first. This world, which was appearing to me full of dukkham, now appears to be all anandam only. I see anandam only everywhere. This particular miracle, which is a very impossible, almost impossible task, was achieved because of my guru. And I bow down to my guru. So that's the meaning of this beautiful sloka. Edetat jagat dukkha rupam purasi adeva dunananda rupam hibhati. Edetat dukkha rupam purasi. Before this is all full of dukkha only. But now tadeva dunananda rupam hibhati. Now it's all full of anandam only. Ashakyam matam yat krutam yena karyam. This impossible task, how is it made possible? Because of Guru. So Guruntam punarvai namami namami Gurum tam punarvai namami. Now it's the Teachers' Day. We prostrate our entire Guru Parampara for putting us in this path and guiding us in this path. Guruji also in another work, it says, once the person starts abiding in the knowledge, then the non-dual aspect helps him. The knowledge of non-dual, that helps him. Because he doesn't see the Veda. Like yesterday, Brahmacharya also was talking about various Vedas. So here he nicely captures. They suppose this is a scriptural quotation backup also. Aham brahmeti vijnanat katham me jagato bhayam. Aham brahmeti vijnanat. Once I know I am Brahman, once that knowledge has sunk in me, katham me jagato bhayam. Where is the question of fear for me? Fear, of course, you can add all that things, right? Fear, jealousy, sorrow, all the other negative emotions. Nothing will be there for him. Yadeta jagat dukkha rupam purasit tadevadu ananda rupam hivati. The same world will appear now full of ananda only. So there's another quotation, so a beautiful one what Guruji gives. Now, let's take a couple of more references to see how Jivan Mukta, for example, is in many texts. Actually, we can see Jivan Mukta Lakshana. Of course, starting from second chapter, we all know. And then, of course, almost all texts actually you can see. Vegachudamani is so many slokas are there. Right? Now, let's see what Ramana Maharshi says. He says, all the accomplishments, whatever we are doing, they are like dream only. But the real accomplishment is the knowledge of abiding in our true self. That is the real accomplishment. And those who are accomplished that, satistita kim punareti maya. For them, there is no maya at all. Siddhasya viddhi sadhayeva siddhihi. Of all the accomplishments, sadhayeva siddhihi, abiding in true self, that knowledge. All the other things is swapnopamana kalasiddhayonya. All the other things are like a dream only. We all know, right? I mean, you just start thinking about, okay, 5 years before, what is that you accomplished? 10 years before, 15 years before. I mean, at that time, that was the biggest accomplishment. You were rewarded and you were given prize and you were also there were a lot of applause and or some promotion or some increments or some satisfaction that you completed this project on time, under budget, and whatever, or you got your sister married or your sons and daughter, whatever, so all these accomplishments, if you look back, Swapnopamana Kalusiddhayonya. Yes, that time it was, but it's all like a dream only. But the real accomplishment is Satisthiti Kyam. For him who is abiding in the true self, for him there is no Maya. So hence, Siddhasya Viddhi Sataheva Siddhi. Abide in your true self. So that's the beauty of Jnani. Therefore, there is no Maya for him. What does Bhagavan say? Of course, Bhagavan, in many places he says, but I just want to take this sloka, which Swamiji mentioned in the morning. It's, I think, mantra number 10 from what we saw this morning. And if you remember, Swamiji said at that time, in Bhagavad Gita also, the first line is quoted. And Bhagavan takes that first line of mantra number 10 and then adds, of course, some more flavor to that. And that is this sloka. Sarva bhutas tamatmanam sarva bhutani chatmani yikshate yoga muktatma sarvatra samasarshanaha That's the part he's adding. Bhagavan is adding. The first part, first line is same. Self in all, and all beings are in self. And the title of the book itself is, as we all know, I am in all are in me. That's the main theme. So that's how Nani looks at. And Sarvatra Samadarshanaha. He actually, he sees the oneness everywhere. He sees the oneness. And because of that, obviously, all the other associated benefits. There's no room for bhayam. There's no room for jealousy. Like Brahmacharya was saying yesterday, then the competition all becomes like comrades. They become, as a team. And we start doing our best because we see the oneness. Like that, there are some quotations for Jivan Mukta. There's so many of them are there. We're going to, tomorrow, the next couple of mantras which are coming, they are also beautiful mantras in Kaivalya Upanishad that also highlight about Jivan Mukti Lakshana. This is, for example, I'll leave this to Swamiji yesterday, tomorrow, definitely he's going to take this, 18th, 19th, and so on. Tebhyo Vilakshana Sakshi Chinmatroham Sadasiva. That's how Jnani looks at it. So, like that, there is so many good qualities of how a permanent happiness can be attained, demonstrated by Jivan Mukta. And we see that, some of the Mahatmas who you can relate to, say, look for example, living example, Guruji. The way, he deals with every transaction, you can see the Jivan Mukti Lakshana reflected. That's a fantastic role model to look for, and, intense motivation for us to walk the path fast. So to summarize, we saw why we need liberation, why we have to think about this, if not already thought. And again, I talked about this from the standpoint of what most of us are going through. And from that standpoint, and of course, some of us already advanced the stage of walking this path. That's great. And some of us actually are just starting the seeking. So for both of them, it will be useful. For those who are just starting to walk the path, they should know actually what is the goal they are looking for and why they are looking for. And for some of the people who are already walking the path, then are we there yet? That question will come, right? And that way, this analysis and information about liberation in terms of what is the meaning, what Vedanta suggests, and what are the quotations, and how do we accomplish, what are the sadhanas available, which of course there is a pool of sadhanas which we can select. There's a buffet of them, like Swamiji was saying, we can select. And of course, our scriptural authority is there that if you do this sadhana, you will accomplish your goal. And that goal gives you this. And as Swamiji was saying, it is not something actually you go and get it. No, it is there. Our true self is there with us. It is thus that we have to remove that ignorance that we don't have that. And once we remove that ignorance, then automatically it will shine. So then we also saw, to summarize, the Jivan Mukta Lakshana also as a sample. As I said, this is only a high-level view of at an elevator pitch level. This is a very, very vast subject. But again, all because scriptures, the main topic is mukti and sadhana, right? And we have library, as Gurudev says, we have a library of scriptures. So if we can have this background and then look at any of the scriptures or text, whatever we study, and we know what the goal we are working towards, and how we can get there, and how we can make it faster to get there. So that's the purpose of choosing this topic. So I hope it served the purpose. So with this, let us actually go to the final prayer. This is another beautiful tagline from our Gurudev. So let us put all our effort towards this goal. Sarve bhavantu sukhidah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kachit dukkha bhag bhavet. May all be healthy. May all be happy. May all see auspiciousness. May none suffer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om. We'll see you all at 6:50 for
Thank
the
you.
budget, followed by Swamiji's Kabir Bani. Hari Om.
Adieu.